Hello, it's Steve with CarSmart, Niagara Falls, and we have a 2014 Camaro for you today. Not just any Camaro, this is a loaded up 2SS, 2014 as mentioned, just 53,966 kilometers as it sits here today. Local Niagara Falls business fellow, sold his business, moving to a different town. And again, a bunch of circumstances needed to unload this car, so I picked it up from him. And this is absolutely spotless. Now, he was the second owner on it, but again, it's got a mint CARFAX, no accidents, anything reported, any claims. It's spotless. Naturally, a car like this has never been winter driven, hence the low mileage. And you know, these are fun cars. They're not everyday daily drivers for most folks. And this one again is a 6-speed manual, so this has the LS3 V8, not the L99. So these are interesting because these came with two different V8 engines with the 2SS, one for the automatic, one for the manual transmission. Now the manual transmission engine, the LS3, which this has, 426 horsepower, 420 pound-feet of torque. It's actually 20 more horsepower than what it came with the automatic. But the big difference between the two engines is this does not have what they call the cylinder deactivation, where it shuts down from 8 to 6 to 4 cylinders that the automatic has. And if you've done your homework on these cars, those can be a real pain in the you-know-what and cause problems and long-term ramifications. Most people end up installing a bypass that shuts it off anyway. So all that said, this is the one you want, assuming you want a manual transmission. And this is a beauty. These tuned to run on any grade of gas, although best performance they always recommend. Premium fuel is going to get you the best bang for the buck as far as performance goes. But again, with the price of gas these days, a lot of people will run mid-grade or even low-grade. These have anti-knock sensors on both banks of the V8 that will actually retard the engine's timing when you're on a lower grade fuel, preventing any damage from being done. So yeah, you might lose 15-20 horsepower at the top end, but if you're going out on track days, you definitely want to juice it up with the best gas. Now this is all set up, so if you want to get into some serious performance driving, this has all the goodies on it. The SS Performance Package. Now this was a almost $3,700 option with forged alloy wheels, 20-inch. You can see them here. Brembo 4-piston, 4-pot calipers in there. Again, and these are virtually new. The Goodyear F1, what they call the Supercar 3 radials. These are big meaty tires. Look at the size of those. Again, these are 285, 35 ZR rated, 20-inch. I just went onto a website to find out pricing on these. Not even mounted and balanced. It's $2,400 for a set of 4 tires like this. So it tells you what the previous owner was like. He was obviously very meticulous, wanted the best for his car, didn't compromise, and that's what you want. I'm not sure if he did it or a previous owner. It also has what they call an oil catch can or a basic oil separator system set up, which is definitely something you want to do and very common with these Chevy V8s and any performance engine, and prevents blowback through PCV valve and whatnot, and keeps your engine running a lot cleaner. Performance exhaust, so you can always identify those with the 4 pipes coming out the back. It's a dual mode system, so it's not something we have to select, but again, when you step on it for maximum performance, it actually opens up for a freer flowing exhaust system to reduce exhaust back pressure, giving you maximum horsepower and performance. It also has the RS package, which you can identify with the little red SS badge on the back. So let's start going through some of these options here. So we talked about the radials, the tires, and the bigger wheels forged. It's got a 391 rear axle ratio with limited slip differential. And then the suspension is tuned for both for ride control as well as performance handling. So this is the kind of car you can take to the track. It's got beefier anti-roll bars, stiffer nitrogen gas charged dual-way shocks. Inside you'll see all the sort of Alcantara, sort of leather-wrapped steering wheel and shifter knob as well. We talked about the brakes upgraded. Oh yeah, under the front bumper there's what they call a splitter. And then you also have that performance hood that's sort of black matte wrapped with an actual functional exhausting or vented hood. And that allows for, at higher speeds, air coming through, allows for air to both cool the engine and escape from under the engine bay, but it reduces lift. So again, and that's all very important at higher speeds in performance driving. So you want to maintain contact with your tires to the asphalt to get your best traction and performance. This is that front splitter we were referring to with the 2SS package. The RS package also gives us the bi-xenon HID lighting with the LED sort of halo lights around there for daytime running lights. Of course, we do have fog lights down below as well. SS badging. Now, previous owner told me he spent $1,000 having this all fully polished and nano coated as well. He had the windows tinted, and so it's got it all. This is a beaut. Rear spoiler on the back, again, that's all part of the package. A couple of little things in the back here. You'll notice, of course, defroster grid, but also up top is what they call a separate grid, and that's not a defrosting, that's actually an antenna. It's what they call a dual diversity antenna, and this really helps improve your radio reception, especially in big cities where there's lots of interference from tall buildings. Of course, we've got that shark fin antenna because this has both satellite radio as well as GPS navigation with it as well. It's got the power sunroof, as you probably noticed in the walk around. Anti-theft wheel locks with the removal key. Those are expensive wheels and tires, so you don't want to have somebody take those in the middle of the night. We talked about the oil separator part. You know, that's about a $500 installed system. Inside, we have the optional Recaro seats. So these are a performance bucket seat. Of course, integrated airbags on the side, but these are, again, the sport buckets with very deep bolstering, so these really hug your body for both driver and passenger. We have an 8-way power adjustment on each side, performance steering wheel with that sort of flat bottom, and again, that sort of microfiber sort of Alcantara wrap on it for better grip. Same with the shifter as well. Upgraded audio. It's got the Boston Acoustics premium audio. It's a 9-speaker, 245-watt system, rear subwoofer, so it's got lots of punch. Power trunk release, all your power windows, power door locks, power mirrors. The mirrors are heated, as well as auto dimming on the driver's side to reduce glare from cars coming up from behind at night. You'll see the small little dome tweeters up in the top of the door panel for better fidelity. And then, of course, little pockets for storage. Tilt and telescopic steering wheel, auto on-off headlights. Fog lights are just sort of activated by tapping that little central button. It's your dimmer switch in behind there. We've got side window demisters up top, and then you've got, of course, your signal lights, and then sort of a multi-function here because this also controls all your sort of central sort of pod information, that little central cluster on the driver's side. So let's jump inside here for a little closer look. Tuck away my notes there. So as mentioned, just 53,966. Again, 3-season driving. It's never seen winter. It's been stored every winter, and that shows in spades when you look under the hood, which you'll see in a minute. And the underbody is equally as clean. These lights here, of course, are just my seatbelt warning light and then my parking brake indicator. But we've got a full digital or analog instrumentation. So tachometer on the left. Down below, we've got a sort of coolant temperature gauge going there. Of course, fuel gauge down on the bottom right. Your full sweep here for... sorry, I got this mixed up. I said this is the speedometer, not the tachometer's over on the right-hand side. Silly me. Over here, of course, is your fog lights. And that's just our low beam indicator as well. That central gauge there right now, so there's a number of ways you can set this up, and this is all controlled through the signal switch here. You see the little menu button, and there's a little rocker switch. So for example, just turning the rocker switch, we're in sort of a performance mode. You'll see things like lap times and whatnot. So if you're going to head up to, you know, the local track for lap days, you know, again, you can certainly have some fun with this and document everything as you're going along. Hitting the menu button will sort of take you through the various information menus, You know, so you can set up speed warnings, you know, so that a car like this is very easy to creep up on you without realizing it. So you can set that speed warning to help avoid those unintended tickets. And of course, you know, set up for US versus metric display. Of course, everything's set up for Canada right now. This is a Canadian car. It's been in Ontario since new. We've got the fuel economies, your average speed, your various... Now you can get what they call OnStar navigation. This has factory navigation built into here, so it's kind of redundant. OnStar navigation isn't that great anyways. And then, again, then we go back to the various menus. Steering wheel itself, we talked about earlier. Of course, you have the cruise control functions over on the left spoke. Over on the right spoke, you've got lots of buttons here. So volume controls, your source controls, you know, for changing between AM, FM, satellite radio, Bluetooth streaming, you know, etc. All your different media modes. And then we have phone controls, you know, answering and hanging up either side. These also double as voice command controls. So especially with phone and navigation systems, especially phone, you know, once you've sort of paired your phone and uploaded your contact list, we can by voice sort of make voice dialing. You know, however it reads in your contact list, just sort of name the individual or company that you're trying to call. It'll recognize it, display who you're trying to reach. Yes, hit the send button, and away you go. We also have a mute control on here. So all very multifunction. Tilt this and you'll see, of course, your wiper controls, of course, full variable delay and washer controls for the lighting system. Both mirrors, again, we've got sort of visor mirrors on both sides. Overhead we have our sunroof controls, and I've got the sunroof shut right now just to keep the glare down while I'm doing the video. These three buttons here are the what they call home link or universal garage door openers. You probably notice that little yellow light there. This is what they call a seatbelt sort of passenger seat classification system. So what we're talking about here is that frontal airbag, and it's currently X, meaning off, because nobody's sitting in the seat, and it won't actually trigger and turn on that airbag until the classification system or sensor in the seat tells the system that the weight is, you know, approximately 95 pounds or greater. It's all designed to keep that airbag off when it's empty, or if you have a child or a young teen sitting there, you know, below that weight, because airbags are designed for adults, not for children or teens, late or young teens certainly. So that's what that is all about. So automatically turns that on and off accordingly. We'll get into all the paperwork here in a moment. Other features overhead here, of course, are overhead lights. We've got individual, you know, we got sort of kind of overhead map lights there as well. Sort of built into here are actually two different microphones, so it's picking up voice communication from either driver or front passenger. We have an auto dimming rear view mirror, you know, with the OnStar application on there, emergency assist, etc. And then again, we have that big sort of sliding overhead deep tinted sort of sunroof. You know, we've got a vent function like it is now, or it certainly slides fully back, and that's all operated with the switch over here on the left. So let's just tilt this around so you can see what I'm doing here. And that sort of slides it back. When it's in the open position, there is a sort of a little deflector that pops up here, and that helps sort of reduce what they call a buffeting effect. You can also mitigate that just by cracking your windows a bit to reduce that pressure wave. If you like open air driving, this next best thing to a convertible without all the turbulence of a convertible. Now moving down to the infotainment system, this is sort of the top setup. Again, we're sort of on the home screen right now, and you can see full color, you know, as is the full color display in that center. That was an option that you know, you got in the up level versions of these. Well, I should point out too as well, over where the key ignition is, your head-up display controls. Difficult to see in daylight, especially on a camera. If I can get it sort of right in there. Anyways, what happens is it projects from here and comes up, and I can see it clear as day, but it doesn't really show on the camera for some reason. You almost need a dark background against the glass to see it, but you can select from different pages. Right now it's displaying both a tachometer as well as its speed, but there's a number of different setups you can do, and you can adjust it for height because everybody's seating position and sort of eye view of that is going to be different, so you can set that up with these two controls right here. The pushing the button changes the pages and all the different menus for that. So getting back to the infotainment screen here, of course you can see what's now playing, navigation functions, etc. You can also access things just by tapping onto the little buttons on the side panel. So for example, there's our navigation setup. If I hit the back button, it's going to go back to the previous screen. So if I want to go to AM, FM, Bluetooth, like right now I have my phone sort of sitting here, and I have paired using my streaming services. I use Amazon Music. And you'll see it has what they call grace notes, so album cover art projects right onto the screen. So regardless of what you're playing, it's going to show you. If you're on radio, it's going to display the source and everything as well. So I can also hit the source button here and do a quick switch and go over to radio, for example. Okay. It has what they call RDS, or radio display system, and it's picking up the radio 1 call letters for CBC radio. It's telling you what's currently on. Of course, this is talk radio, but if it was a music station, it would display the song playing, etc. And then, of course, we do have backup camera. So let me just pop this into reverse, and you'll see a nice big full color backup screen there. It also has, in that rear bumper, you may have noticed what they call park assist. So these are little sonar sensors. So as you're backing up, any object, so once you hit about 6 feet from there, it'll start a slow beeping, and that beeping gets progressively faster until you get a solid tone. When you hit that solid tone, you're about 12 inches from sort of touching or making contact with that object. So it's a nice, I guess, enhancement to the basic backup camera system. If you hit the more button here, it just goes over to other screens where you can get into like Stitcher, Smart Radio. This is like an internet radio service, USB and auxiliary ports. Those are sort of located under the center armrest here. We'll just sort of shift around and you can see that here. There's also a 12-volt power plug in the back of that sort of center console storage area. And you can upload pictures and so what they call cover art and background. If you want pictures of your family, your kids, or your girlfriend, or whatever showing on here, you can do that as well. And menu select, again, sort of just allows you to sort of cycle through the pages all at a push of a button. Volume controls here. Again, this is the punched up audio with the Boston Acoustics, again, 9-speaker system, so big subwoofers. Again, nice system. Climate control, so it's currently off, so then you've got your manual selection of fan speeds. This little rotary, this sort of moves all the various combinations of airflow. Temperature control is just very simple. Just moving that from one side to the other. Air conditioning on and off with this little button here, a little blue light, it illuminates, pressure air will recirculate. In the center, you'll see heated seats. So 2 stages for both driver and passenger. So this would be passenger side, driver's over here. Something we won't need for several months. And then down below, again, this is again, when you get up into the SS models, again, you got this sort of 4-pod auxiliary gauges. So again, when you're performance driving, this is where this is really helpful. If you're out on a track, you've got oil pressure gauge, oil temperature gauge. So you've got both coolant temperature, oil temperature, transmission fluid temperature, and then of course an ammeter for your charging system. So we're putting out good 14 volts there, which is normal. Down here we've got another auxiliary plug. This button sort of would turn off the traction control and what they call vehicle stability control. In the GM world they call it StabiliTrack, and it's sort of a combination of both all-speed traction control. So typically, again, if you're out on a track day and you're having some fun and doing some hot laps, you want to turn that off, because again, going into corners, a little wheel spin certainly can enhance your times and give you that real driving experience. But more importantly, it also turns off that anti-skid control, which again, if you're sort of power sliding into corners and whatnot, you want the ability to allow the car to sort of drift and do those sort of things that are going to enhance that driving experience. But for day-to-day driving out on the streets, always a good idea to leave that on. Hit a rainy day, there's a lot of power here, that could get you out of some serious trouble. 6-speed overdrive, you can see your shift pattern there, and with reverse being over and up to the right. handbrake. Oh, this also has a hill hold control, so it prevents that sort of rollback. I have my phone sitting. Of course, we've got drink holders. Again, those beautiful Recaro seats. Again, we have 8 airbags, so airbags extending over front and rear windows for what they call side curtain airbags, side impact airbags within the seats, and then those dual stage frontal airbags. When we talk about dual stage, they actually deploy at 1 of 2 levels based on the amount of impact energy, and it's all designed to give you the appropriate amount of airbag support without giving you too much. Now, I do have to pause for one moment. I will be right back. Okay, we are back. So, entry into the back seats from both sides. There's this handy little sort of flip lever here that sort of tilts that seat forward, allows for easier access in the back. Now you can see it's a 2-seater. It's not a 3-person bench in the back. We do have what they call the anchor points for child seats in behind here. These little buttons sort of indicate where they go, so you can put child seats in either of those rear seating positions. The seat does fold. There's a sort of a pass-through, sort of flip-down lever up top, so you can drop that seat to accommodate larger items, coming straight through from the trunk. It's not a roomy back seat, but you're never going to find that in a performance 2-door coupe. Now, flip up the trunk, you'll see, again, external hinges and sort of gas struts, so they don't impinge on the trunk space when you're loading it up. So it gives you lots of room. You need to throw your golf bags in there, coolers, anything for travel. There's no conventional spare. When you get into these performance cars, they come with a... I'll flip it up here and show you. It's a little bit of a pain. This undoes here, and then there's access underneath to auxiliary storage area under there. But we have what they call a tire repair kit within there, and that's what one would use to access. Also in there, that's the oil catch can. Looks like it's been taken off. Again, all the instructions are there in the booklets to operate that as well. And one thing I forgot to go over was some of these items here on the seat. So let's take 2 seconds to do that. We have a second key. You'll see one in the ignition, one here. This is our wheel lock key. And one thing I like to do is always sort of document the pricing. So brand new, this vehicle was just over $44K base price. Then you got the dealer, freight, PDI, dealer fees. Now, I didn't include this in the cost, but those F1 radials, again, the basic cost on those, $2,330 plus install. And that was just done last year. There's probably less than 1,000 kilometers driven on those tires. He added ceramic coat at $1,000. Again, the performance Recaro seats was a $2,100 option. Tinted glass and wheel locks, I guess nominal in the big picture, but it also has the SS Performance package, which is $3,600. The Rally Sport pack is $1,380. The Performance dual mode performance exhaust system, $940. Power sunroof, $1,200. On and on and on. Again, all added up when new as equipped, $57,225. CARFAX history, no accidents, service records. You'll see up in Kincardine, Owen Sound, and then here in Welland, where our current customer lives. And we always do a lien search when we're buying a car or acquiring any car, just to make sure that you're protected and we're protected. There's no bank load and owing on it. Here's all the installation instructions for that Camaro oil separator, and that's a genuine GM performance setup. All the books and manuals are there, so very, very complete. Now, underneath here is the release for the hood. There we go. So we've got a nice big strut to hold it up. We've got the overhead, what they call this strut tower brace, and this sort of links the two top struts. But what it does is really improve the vehicle's stiffness. Again, if you're going to get into aggressive driving, taking it to a track, etc., this is key for really stiffening up the platform, allowing the suspension to really shine. You can see how clean it is here. Now we've kind of given it a wipe down, but this has been oil sprayed inside, sort of like a crown type treatment, I guess. Always worthwhile, even if you're not winter driving it. You do that every few years, you'll never have a rust issue on these cars. And there's our LS3 V8, the behemoth, 420 horsepower. Everything is clean as a whistle and working exactly the way it should. Anyway, that pretty much wraps it up, folks. I'm Steve with CarSmart in Niagara Falls. This could be yours, a fraction of the price of a new one. Thanks for watching.